Chase Elliott earned his first win of the season in Dover, one race after being eliminated from the round of 16. Martin Truex Jr. dominated but fell short late in the race after it was forced to overtime. Gary Owen ran in the top 5 most of the race, but a right front tire quickly degrading dropped him to 11th place in the overtime shootout.
Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we have what could be considered an important race. It's Talladega in the round of 12, obviously the middle race of this round, and we need a solid finish. If we have a bad finish, get caught up in a crash or something here, this could really impact our playoff chances at making the round of 8. We come into this race 21 points to the good since Kyle Busch is 3 points out. Your first driver out, him and Brad Keselowski can still point their way in, but Daniel Suarez and Paul Menard likely are going to need to get a victory unless Suarez maybe gets a really good finish here in Talladega. But Paul Menard already in a must-win situation for himself. But first, before we go into our Cup race, we got to switch focus to Hailie Deegan's truck race. A quick recap for her as she's already locked into the next round. This is the cutoff race for the first round of the Truck Series playoffs as she started all the way back in, I think, 30th, so it certainly was not a very good starting position for her, but she quickly worked her way forwards as we came to about the midpoint in this race as she worked her way up to P18 and just continued to move forwards throughout this race, running the bottom line, just propelled her way towards the front as Johnny Sauter at this time led the race just over Grant Enfinger. But as the race went on, as we come towards the final lap of this race, Hailie Deegan did work her way well inside the top 10. She ran in P6 with about half a lap to go, and Johnny Sauter at this point still led the race over Brett Moffitt in the 75 of Parker Kligerman and the 24 of Justin Haley as Haley moved up to P5 now behind Justin Haley as we come towards the trioval for the final time. Obviously, Hailie Deegan has nothing to worry about as we come towards the line. She just tried to make a move to the outside of the 24, but it didn't work. She fell back in line and she would finish 5th in Talladega, so a very strong finish for her. And now we set our sights for the next round of the Truck Series playoffs and hoping that Hailie can have a really good next round as well to put herself into the Final Four to compete for a championship at Homestead Miami Speedway in the coming races. And now as we get ready to look at the playoff grid, so at the end of this round of 8, Todd Gilliland and Harrison Burton get eliminated, so unfortunate for them. Those were two Kyle Busch Motorsports drivers that just got destroyed in the playoffs. They did not even have a chance coming into Talladega. And we finally get another Cup team offer for next season. So right now we have Ganassi, the Wood Brothers, Stuart Haas, and a special offer from Richard Petty Motorsports. I can tell you right now, the Wood Brothers and Richard Petty Motorsports, we will not be going to either of those teams. I would like to say also real quick, rest in peace to Glenn Wood. He passed away last night, so that's unfortunate news. But we decided I'm going to actually choose Hendrick Motorsports as the team I contact, so we could very well be driving for one of those cars next season. And I will confirm that if I do drive for Hendrick, it won't be in the 9 or the 88, so we'll see what happens there. Actually, it might be the 88. We'll figure it out. I'm not sure exactly what team I'm going to just yet, but we'll have some news on that pretty shortly as I'm excited for the next season. But now, as we check the playoff grid one more time before coming into Talladega, Kevin Harvick mathematically locked in. He cannot get eliminated no matter what in this race. Truex, he's over 30 points to the good, and myself, we're 21 to the good coming into this race. So we're coming in qualifying, not very good at qualifying in Talladega, so we really just expected maybe a top 35 would be pretty good for me as we come through the trioval. Crossing the line, we end up going P32 with a 49.807 as we get ready to start the second race of the round of 12 in Talladega.
Today, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series makes its final stop at Talladega Superspeedway for the running of the 1000bulbs.com 500. The playoffs are in full swing, and for those drivers in the chase, a win today at NASCAR's longest track would clinch a spot in the next round. However, taking a checkered here is much easier said than done. This relatively wide track allows cars to run 3, 4, and sometimes 5 wide. But that kind of close-quarter racing is a surefire recipe for the big one. Which of these drivers will steer clear of trouble and visit victory lane? Let's head down to the track and find out. NASCAR racing is coming up next.
We are ready to go green in Talladega. Kevin Harvick starts on the pole. Shocker, he's up front. You would not expect to see that with the 6 wins he already has. No one sent to the back, so nothing happened at all. Everyone's legal and ready to get going here as we start behind the 72 of Corey LaJoie now in the trial. The green flag is out and we are underway in Talladega alongside the 88 of Alex Bowman. Certainly not starting good, which is going to probably decrease my chances of getting stage points, which really could affect us later or at the end of this round coming into Kansas. But Kevin Harvick leads us into turns 1 and 2. Immediately, Danica Patrick gets shuffled out to the 3rd lane, and she drops very fast, unfortunately for her, now as we ride behind the 72 and alongside the 24 of William Byron in his plain yellow Hertz scheme, as we have a bit of a checkup just in front of me. So we get into the back of the 72 just a little bit, but right now just staying in line, not really needing to make any stupid moves, as that's really the biggest goal here, is to survive and at least get like a top 10, top 15 we could maybe deal with, but certainly falling back very early on here in this race as I'm stuck on the outside line and I could not go anywhere, as we do see a playoff contender ahead, Daniel Suarez, who came into this race over 20 points out right now, so he's going to probably be in a must-win situation as we come across to complete the first lap of this race in P32, just about getting in the back of the 72. I could have slid down in front of Brendan Gaughan, but I thought better of it. I didn't want to do anything dumb at this point, as Eric Jones down the 3rd lane hung out. He's dropping to the back very fast as he's trying to get in line, causing a bit of a checkup, and now he gets into the wall briefly as we get alongside the 51, and Daniel Hemrick, he's going to let me in, so we get right in behind the 51 of Harrison Rhodes now as Jones continues to fall back very fast as we come into turns 3. Sitting P34 right now with one of the black cars of Ross Chastain. I'm not sure, I think it's Premium Motorsports he drives for, sitting behind me in that number 15 car as we look on the inside of Corey LaJoie, now making it 3 wide just about with the 51 of Harrison Rhodes, but as soon as I ducked out of line I could not get a run on his inside, so we stay in line for a moment now, once again looking to his inside across the line to complete the 2nd lap, and we just did not have the speed once I dipped out of the draft to try and make it 3 wide on them. Now as we come to lap 7 in this race, sitting P27 at this point, we gained a few spots, now just trying to work our way forwards. At this point I'm thinking we're not going to get stage points in stage 1, which is certainly going to be a hit to my playoff standings, but we can maybe take it here in Talladega as long as we can get a good finish by the end of this race and get stage 2 points as we just continue to run the bottom line, and that's really what's propelling me forward as we just edge ahead of the 34 of Michael McDowell. Now looking to the inside of a fellow playoff contender, Clint Boyer, who won a few races back in Las Vegas, the first race of the playoffs, and now we look to the inside to make it 3 wide, but once again, as soon as I duck out of line, cannot get that run on the inside of the 62. But Boyer is certainly not having a great first stage for him. Not sure exactly where he stands right now in the playoff picture, but you can see up towards the front, it's pretty much all single file in the corners. Once we get onto the straightaways, everyone just goes all over the place, which is a little annoying, but now as we come into the corners, you're going to notice that they probably go single file. Once again, up front, it's pretty much, oh, we have a crash! And the car comes back up to the track into the field, and we have a crash, and the caution comes out immediately, allowing me to avoid the crash at least, but certainly just about got a big incident here in Talladega, as I'm not sure who crashed. It might have been Trevor Bayne. It was Trevor Bayne, and Denny Hamlin currently leads as we get ready to go green, this time by 22nd as cars behind us decided to pit. So they made an interesting strategy call now as we get ready to end this first stage. It's going to be 3 laps to go at the line. The green flag is back out alongside the 24 of William Byron. Thankfully, we did not get caught up in that incident as we give a shove to Greg Galding, the 23 car, as we get ready to go into turns 1. Bowman with a very poor restart for him as we go into turn 1, trying to edge ahead of him as we push the 23 once again. He might drop down in front of Bowman as he maybe thought about it for a second, but he decided to stay on this outside line. But our teammate Jamie McMurray looking to that bottom line now as we push the 23 along to his outside down the straightaway. A big run for Greg Galding now as he's going to get in behind the 37 of Chris Buescher as we are alongside our teammate Jamie McMurray, getting side-drafted now from the 88 of Bowman. Certainly been getting side-drafted actually quite a bit in this race, which was getting frustrating at times, as you can see how much of an effect it had on me in the long run now, as we've lost a couple positions out of it, as Trevor Bayne sits behind me, the driver who just wrecked a few moments ago. Now as we fall in line behind the 62 of Brendan Gaughan, sitting P23 as we come to 2 to go in stage 1. Certainly not going to get stage points at this point, but we can try to get into the best position we can. Now as we come to the last lap in stage 1, still sitting P22 just ahead of Brendan Gaughan, now trying to get to the inside of the 21 of Menard, who is in the playoffs obviously, but in a must-win situation. He's already over 40 points behind the cut line, and certainly this is not going to help him at all. Now as we come down the back straightaway for the final time in stage 1, trying to get whatever we can now, just kind of really staying in line for a moment, but we have a chance to look to the inside of the 23. We try to pick up the draft from the 24 of William Byron, and we make it 3 wide with Golding and Menard through turns 3 and 4 for the final time in stage 1 as we come through the center and now through the exit of the corner, trying to get help from that 24 to edge ahead of these guys, as I believe Eric Almirola currently leads. As we come through the tri-oval, we're going to hang on to get P20, it looks like, if we don't make a mistake, and yes, we will get P20 in stage 1 as Eric Almirola gets the stage victory. He was obviously eliminated just a few races ago after the Roval with a very poor run for him, but certainly I guess a good rebound for Almirola at this point, as now we're going to come to pit road. We're taking just 2 right side tires, and I know that we're going to shuffle back maybe a little bit, but we actually gained a position because the AI took 4 tires and I took 2, so we sit P19 as a bunch of cars did stay out. Those cars that pitted after Trevor Bayne wrecked all stayed out, so we're now sitting P19 as the green flag waves once again here to start stage 2 behind a 2-car of Brad Keselowski on the inside of his teammate Ryan Blaney, who's looking like he might make it 3 wide with him himself, Johnson and Keselowski, but Johnson gets down in line just in front of Blaney. Johnson certainly having a solid run so far in this playoff now as he tries to focus his eyes on making the round of 8. Not sure if he's going to be able to make it, but we'll find out now as we approach the back bumper of Keselowski, letting off the throttle, not wanting to get into the back of him right away. Now as the outside line has a huge run as we really lose some momentum now on this inside line, as we're going to have a bunch of cars just power right on by as we kind of cut off the 3 of Austin Dillon, as Michael McDowell cuts off the 32 of De Benedetto to get into that outside line as he was shuffled out for a brief moment now as we get into the back of Keselowski, coming through to complete the first lap of stage 2 now through the tri-oval. Really nowhere to go for myself, just making sure I stay in line and hoping that this inside line eventually starts propelling its way forward as we look to the inside for a brief moment, not able to get down under Keselowski through turns 1 and 2 on the inside of De Benedetto. He's having a solid run now as Keselowski moves up the track, and I immediately look to the bottom, trying to make it 3 wide with him and De Benedetto. We get the draft from the 41 to Kurt Busch, so we do make the 3 wide move, and we're approaching the back bumper of the 41 pretty quickly, and I'm going to look to the inside of him and try to make it 3 wide with him and McDowell now as we go into turns 3 behind the 95 of Casey Kane, getting a little bit loose there for a moment now on the inside of Ryan Blaney, starting to work our way forwards now at this point as we sit right behind the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, making a little bit of contact with the 12 of Blaney, but nothing went wrong there, thankfully, as we keep the car straight and slowly work our way forwards now as we edge ahead of the 48 of Johnson for P14 across the line to complete the second lap in stage 2 as Daniel Suarez currently leads, and he came into this race over 20 points out, and this is exactly what he needs to be doing. He could be setting himself up pretty well to maybe somehow point his way in or win his way in to the next round if he can maintain this lead here in Talladega as we battle alongside the 95 of Casey Kane and the Procore Camaro, approaching the top 10 now as we get towards the back bumper of Daniel Hemrick as he moves back up the track. He can't really decide where he's going, but by the time we come to the halfway point in this stage, looking to the inside of Chase Elliott, we worked our way into the top 10, now looking to the inside of the 9 to get P8 from him as we go into turns 1 with just 5 laps to go in this stage, all single file just about ahead of me, but one car does look to the outside, but he gets back in line as we approach the back bumper of Stenhouse. Out of turn 2, he sits behind the 10 of Almirola. We jump up in front of Elliott trying to maybe get some help, but no one really wanted to help me, so I dropped back down, and we pretty much just stayed in a line behind these guys as we come to 2 laps to go in stage 2. You see the leader actually jumps to the outside line, and he is going to regret that now, as he's going to allow one of the second place car to his inside. I can't tell who that is, but now we have a new leader, as that black car of either Sorensen or Ross Chastain continues now to fall down the order, as he's going to regret that very much, as we're just going to just train right on by him. I do move up the track, maybe trying to help him get something going, but it doesn't work as I go under the yellow line, as I came down the track really fast and went right onto the apron. But now as the white flag comes out in stage 2, sitting P6 behind Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Eric Almirola as we come through turns 1 and 2 for the final time in this stage. Sorensen did get down in line behind me, so he sits P7, so he really didn't lose too much, as really he should be running 37th or so he can't really complain as we come down the back straightaway for the final time in stage 2, just trying to make sure we get some stage points, as Corey LaJoie I think is the leader, but he's going to give it up now as we come through turns 3 and 4. LaJoie gives away the lead to, I believe, the 14 car of Clint Boyer as we come through turns 4 for the final time. A big run on the back of the 17 in LaJoie, and immediately I'm going to try and make it 3 wide between Stenhouse and him as we come through the trial. We're making a pretty ambitious move as we come through the trial with a steal P5 from LaJoie and can't get past Stenhouse, but we will finish stage 2 in 5th place to get an extra 5 points for myself, or 6 points, sorry, as Clint Boyer holds up Ross Chastain to get the stage victory here in Talladega now, as we set focus on the final stage of this race, and this is where we need to really make sure we finish well, as we take 4 tires and 2 cans of fuel, come in P5 and we come out P5 now behind the 14 and 10 of Boyer and Almirola, getting ready to restart this race, and the green flag is out. The final stage in Talladega is underway. It's been a relatively clean race so far. We've had one incident where Trevor Bayne lost control and he really took out maybe himself and another car or two, so not really too much damage done so far in this race. And immediately we're going to pull a big run down through turns 1 and 2. The 15 of Chastain, no speed at all, as he's going to completely destroy the outside line's momentum as we push Almirola now down the back straightaway, trying to get him to the inside of his teammate Clint Boyer, but he's not going to make that move, as Boyer just barely has him pinned down. Now as we come into turn 3, Almirola does look to the inside, and I backed out of the throttle because I thought Almirola was going to check up, so I lose some ground, and that allows Boyer to slide down in front of me, and now as he can't really make up his mind where he wants to go, but now the cars behind me sit 3 wide. Stenhouse and LaJoie have a huge run, as they're going to easily get to my outside now, as they're going to make it 4 wide with Chastain, as it's getting very racy here in this last stage as we cross the line with 17 laps to go, as Daniel Suarez is going to rejoin the picture now, as you can see him in my mirror looking towards my back bumper as we get the draft from Ross Chastain, as we lost a lot of ground early in this first lap of the final stage as we battle alongside Stenhouse, as Suarez is going to join the party now as he gets to my outside down the back straightaway. Can't really do anything right now. For some reason we just don't have the speed, as now Suarez drops down in front of me, and that should help me regain the draft and regain some speed as we battle alongside the 31 of Ryan Newman, who obviously missed the playoffs as he's just trying to make it through the rest of this season, as Almirola currently leads coming into the tri-oval as we side draft the 31 a little bit coming into the tri-oval now, as Clint Boyer is currently the best playoff contender running right now in second place as we cross the stripe to hit 16 to go, as Newman clears me and he's going to drop down just in front of me as we fall back to P7 in this race now as we come through turns 1 and 2. Right now as it stands, we're pretty comfortable too, sitting in points, so I really wasn't too aggressive looking to get positions, because I know if I can get a top 10, we're likely going to be in good shape going into Kansas. So really the top 10 is the goal here. If we can have a chance at winning, then that'll be great. But now as Almirola leads, he might lose it to that car of Ross Chastain, I believe, up there now as we come to later on lap 33. Still the same situation as we come through turns 1 and 2, and we have a spinner. It's Bubba Wallace in the 43 coming up the track. Huge crash. Now the big one strikes in Talladega. A bunch of cars spinning down the track into the inside wall, back up into the outside wall, and that's going to bring out a caution. Many playoff contenders right there I just saw get taken out. The big one has struck in Talladega, not the race that the playoff drivers need to have that happening, but we saw Brad Keselowski, I believe Kyle Busch, and a few others were collected in that. Now as we get ready to go green, thank goodness we were ahead of that. We weren't very far ahead of Bubba Wallace when he went spinning, but fortunately we were, and now we have just 12 laps to go in this race as we get going, as Stenhouse is already making it 3 wide with Boyer and Ryan Newman looking to make it to the middle, and then Suarez is in the same situation. and he made it 3 wide with Ross Chastain, as he is in just about a must-win situation, like I stated earlier, and he really wants to get up front now as Bowyer approaches the back bumper of Almirola. We have a pretty large run with help from Daniel Hemrick on the exit of the corner down the back straightaway. We're going to immediately push Clint Bowyer out towards the front as we are alongside the 19 of Suarez as we head into turns 3 side by side for the lead. First 4 or 5 rows right now, all side by side as we come through turns 3 and 4. Hitting 11 laps to go this time by as we lose a little bit of ground between myself and Bowyer as we try to side draft the 19 of Suarez as we come through the tri-oval, but really struggling right now to keep up with these leaders as we come across the line. It is 11 to go now as Stenhouse looks to my outside as we certainly start to lose some ground. As Suarez, he has the option to look to the inside as he really doesn't look like he's going to take it, but now he does finally get down in line as Almirola is likely going to lose a little bit of time now as Suarez maybe he's looking to go back to the outside. He can't really make up his mind, but we're going to give him a big hit to the bumper now down the back straightaway to allow him to close up on the back of Bowyer. And if we can make Suarez win, then that really could benefit me because I don't see him as much of a contender as, say, Clint Bowyer would be going into the round of 8 now as we come out of turn 4 as he is all over Bowyer. Looking to the inside now, Bowyer goes up to the top, maybe trying to help his teammate of Almirola, but Almirola drops to the bottom, hanging his teammate out to dry, but Bowyer, he might give up the lead now as Suarez is looking to that inside. Bowyer moved up the track and he is definitely going to sacrifice the lead as it looks like he might lose it to Suarez as he gets clear just barely over Suarez now as we come to lap 42 in this race, sitting P6 as Suarez is still battling for the lead with Bowyer. I believe Suarez has got it now as we come through turns 3 and 4, and we have once again a spinner. It's Austin Dillon in turns 3 and 4. He comes up the track and only himself crashing though, and that will bring out a caution as he hits the wall on the outside wall, and he has a lot of damage on that car, and that's going to force a late race restart now in this race. And Clint Bowyer actually did cycle his way back. He fell off quite a bit. He's outside the top 10 at this point as he got hung out. But Daniel Suarez will lead over the 8 of Hemrick. And unfortunately, we're restarting on the outside, but we do have a fairly fast car of Stenhouse leading this outside line. So hopefully that will benefit us as now we have only 3 laps to go as this race restarts behind the 10 of Almirola as Suarez and Stenhouse battle side by side. Who can get the victory now as we push the 10 of Almirola, trying to close him up on the back of Stenhouse as we come into turns 1 and 2. Kyle Busch on my back bumper to help me, but immediately the inside is prevailing as Almirola, he abandons me to get to the bottom, which was really a smart move. I can't blame him for doing that now as we get to the back of the 17 of Stenhouse. Suarez, the leader, he moves up the track to help us, and that's going to benefit us now as we come down the back straightaway as Suarez is likely going to abandon us by the time we get into turn 3. But right now it looks like Hemrick is looking to the inside of Suarez, trying to take the lead as we approach 2 laps to go in this race. Daniel Hemrick has a chance to lead, but Suarez had enough of a run from help from Stenhouse and I to get back to the bottom and take the lead, but immediately he looks back towards the top of the track, drops back down. He's managing these 2 lines very well as we start to lose a lot of time with the 15 of Chastain side drafting me as we come to the 2 laps to go. Now on the right rear of the 10 side drafting him a little bit into turns 1, and now we are just really dropping back as Kyle Busch approaches my left side, and that's really going to do us in. If we wanted a chance at a win, we're not going to get it now. We just need to hold on to get a solid top 10 finish if possible, as we have a chance just about to dive into the bottom, but I decided, you know what, we're going to play it safe. I'm not going to risk dropping down in line, maybe causing an incident now as Kyle Busch moves to the top line, as we have a chance to get to the bottom, and I immediately take it as we sit behind Corey LaJoie in the 72 car, taking the white flag this time, and Suarez has lost the lead. It is now Daniel Hemrick leading this race as we come through the tri-oval. Eric Almirola right on his back bumper. Almirola is still looking for that first win, and the number 10 as we come across the line right on the back bumper of Kyle Busch, pushing Daniel Suarez hopefully now as we come into turns 1 and 2. Certainly not looking very good for myself. As long as we can maybe hang on to a top 10 though, then we have nothing to hang our heads over as we come out of turn 2. Down the back straightaway for the final time. Daniel Hemrick leads as Almirola, he looks like he wants to try and make a move to the inside, but Hemrick's going to defend as we come down the back straightaway. Almirola goes to the top, no help up there as he's probably going to drop back in line as he tries to do that now as we come through turns 3 and 4. Suarez gets hung out by his own teammate, and that actually hurt me as we lost a lot of momentum as we make contact with the 55 out of turn 4, trying to hold off Clint Bowyer as he's going to kind of look very aggressively to my inside as now we come to the tri-oval for the final time. Alongside the 14 of Boyer, we're going to finish P11 again, just like we did in Dover, but now in Talladega. Daniel Hemrick gets his first career win here in Talladega as we come home P11, so certainly nothing to hang our heads over. It was a solid finish for us. We ran good, and once again, we didn't have the top 10 to show for it, just like Dover. I am very confident, though, that we gained at least a couple points to be a few points more to the good over the cut line now. As we have finished Talladega, we're going to see who is out and who is in coming into Kansas. There it is, Jimmy Johnson, Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin with a terrible race. Now, it's really Suarez, Hamlin, and Menard all in must-win situations, as it's going to be down to Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson really battling it out for this last playoff position. And really, realistically, even Truex and Logano and Kurt Busch themselves aren't really the safest, but we're safe as we're actually 27 to the good as Johnson is 5 out. So this is going to be a very interesting race when it comes time to start the next race in Kansas. So it's going to be certainly dramatic for Johnson. He is going to have really good finishes in stage 1 and 2 if he wants to keep his drive for 8 alive, or chasing 8, whatever he calls it. But we have some very kind messages from drivers, so that's good. We haven't had those in a couple races. As I think it was Dover that we had Kyle Busch angry with me, Chase Elliott angry, and I think Clint Boyer or something like that. But we're gonna compliment everybody. We don't need any rivals, and now Joey Logano is a good friend with us, the full friend bar. Now is the next episode, like I said, we will have Kansas for our Cup race, the cutoff race for the round of 12. Who will make the round of 8? Now, there's no truck race, so Haley Deegan gets another week off. But if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. And before we go, we will once again look at the playoff standings to give you guys an idea of who is where as we approach this final race of the round of 12 in Kansas, a track that I didn't run very good at earlier in the season, so hopefully we can get maybe just a top 10. We're pretty safe, though. We're 27 to the good, so we really don't have too much to worry about unless something goes significantly wrong for myself. But there is the playoff grid as we get ready to go into Kansas. Harvick only 36 to the good, but he's still easily going to make this next round, as it's going to be a good one. So I will see you guys in the next episode for Kansas. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch one of my videos. I appreciate it very much, and I will see you guys in the next episode to decide who makes the round of 8 and gets a chance to fight to make the round of 4 for Homestead Miami. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody, and have a great day.